What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome back to another episode where we dive deep into the latest drama, news, and absolutely wild moments happening in the world of hoops. Today, we're talking about something that's got the entire basketball community buzzing. Tyrese Haliburton's comments about Caitlin Clark that have absolutely taken the internet by storm. Now, before we get into this, let me just say the WNBA, and specifically the Indiana Fever, are currently in what we like to call the sunken place. You know, that psychological horror movie reference where everything just feels off and you're stuck in this weird limbo? Yeah, that's exactly where we are right now with this whole situation. But hey, the show must go on, and we've got some serious reporting to do here. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's break down exactly what happened and why everyone's losing their minds over it. So here's the deal. So Caitlin Clark, the phenomenon herself, is currently dealing with not one, but two injuries. We're talking about a bone bruise and a groin injury. Now, if you've ever had either of these injuries, you know they're absolute killers. A bone bruise feels like someone took a sledgehammer to your leg and then decided to dance on it for good measure. And don't even get me started on groin injuries. Those things are like having a persistent reminder that your body hates you every single time you try to move. The million-dollar question everyone's asking is, will she come back this year? And honestly, your guess is as good as mine. The Fever organization is being tighter with information than Fort Knox with their gold reserves. They're giving us absolutely nothing to work with here. But here's where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean absolutely fascinating in the most dramatic way possible. There's another superstar player right there in Indianapolis who knows exactly what it's like to be injured at the worst possible moment. Enter Tyrese Haliburton, the man who suffered what can only be described as a gruesome, soul-crushing injury during the NBA Finals. Now, Haliburton has been on what I can only describe as a media tour recently. The guy's been everywhere, and I mean everywhere. It's like he hired the same publicist as a Kardashian or something. The media finally caught up with him in Indiana, and boy, oh boy, did he have some things to say about his relationship with Caitlin Clark.
It's been important just to have somebody to lean on, talk to. I think that we've grown the relationship that we can talk about more than just basketball. Obviously, we connect a lot through basketball. We get guarded the same sometimes. Our offensive issues our defensive issues are similar. Like, everything is really similar between us. So, it sucks that she's been hurt for as long as she has, but just for us to be able to communicate, even in her recovery, we lift at the same time, so it's like just us two in the weight room, so we spend a lot of time together. I guess it's a good thing, but I wish that she was playing rather, but I think it's just good to have each other to lean on in a time like right now.
And they're literally becoming each other's support system. It's like a sports movie script wrote itself. But wait, it gets even more heartwarming and slightly hilarious when you really think about it. You know, it sucks that she's been hurt for as long as she has, but just for us to be able to communicate, even in her recovery, we lift at the same time. So it's like just us two in the weight room. So we spend a lot of time together. Picture this scene for a moment. You walk into this massive, state-of-the-art training facility expecting to see it bustling with athletes, trainers, and the usual chaos of professional sports. But instead, you find these two superstars, probably looking like they've been through a war, just quietly grinding through their rehab exercises together. It's simultaneously inspiring and absolutely hilarious. I can just imagine the conversations they must have. Clark, how's your hamstring feeling today? Haliburton, like it was attacked by an angry mongoose. How's your groin? Mark, like I tried to do the splits on concrete. Haliburton, cool. Want to do some light stretching and complain about our terrible luck? Clark, already ahead of you. Haliburton continued, I guess it's a good thing, but I wish that she was playing rather, but I think it's just good to have each other to lean on at a time. Sound like right now, the way he said this, you could practically hear the mixture of gratitude and frustration in his voice. It's like when you're grateful for finding a parking spot, but you're also annoyed that you had to drive around for 20 minutes to find it. What's absolutely fascinating about this whole situation is how genuine this friendship seems to be. These aren't just two athletes doing the polite media thing where they say nice things about each other. This sounds like a real, authentic connection that formed out of shared struggle. Think about it. Both of these players are used to being the guy or girl on their respective teams. They're used to carrying the load, being the focal point of the offense, and having the weight of expectations on their shoulders. And now suddenly, they're both sidelined, watching their teams struggle without them, probably feeling helpless and frustrated. But instead of wallowing in their individual misery, which, let's be honest, would be totally understandable, they found each other. and not in some grand orchestrated way, but in the most mundane, everyday setting possible. The weight room. There's something beautifully ironic about two of the most explosive, dynamic players in basketball bonding over not being able to play basketball. It's like two race car drivers bonding over having to take the bus. Now, let's talk about the absolute comedy of errors that led to both of these situations. Haliburton's injury during the NBA Finals was the kind of thing that makes you question if the basketball gods have a twisted sense of humor. Here's a guy who had been playing lights-out basketball all season, carrying the Pacers on his back, and then bam, injured at the worst possible moment. And Clark? She's been dealing with what can only be described as the most persistent, annoying injuries possible. It's not like she tore her ACL in some dramatic highlight reel play. No, she's dealing with the basketball equivalent of a paper cut that just won't heal, except if that paper cut prevented you from doing your job and disappointed millions of fans. The timing is so perfectly awful that it almost feels scripted. It's like the universe looked at Indiana basketball fans and said, you know what? You've been having too much fun lately. Time to bring you back down to earth. Let's dive deeper into what I'm calling the Weight Room Chronicles, because this setup is honestly comedic gold. Picture this daily routine. 7 o'clock a.m. Haliburton rolls into the facility, probably still half asleep, nursing his coffee like it's the last drink on earth. 7:15 a.m. Clark arrives looking like she's ready to murder someone, probably her injury. 7:30 a.m. They both stare at the same piece of equipment, probably some torture device disguised as a rehabilitation tool. 8 o'clock a.m. They're both doing the most boring, repetitive exercises known to mankind while probably discussing everything from basketball philosophy to what they're going to eat for lunch. 8:30 a.m. One of them probably makes a joke about how they used to be able to dunk shoot from half court, and now they're celebrating being able to do a proper squat. 9 a.m. They finish their session, probably more tired from the mental exhaustion of not being able to do what they love than from the actual workout. The beauty of this whole situation is in its mundanity. These are two of the most exciting players to watch in basketball, and their current highlight reel consists of proper form on leg extensions and really good communication during stretching routines. Of course, the internet being the internet, these comments immediately went viral, and not just regular viral, and we're talking everyone and their grandmother is now a relationship expert viral. The reactions have been absolutely priceless. Some fans are treating this like the beginning of the greatest sports friendship story ever told. They're already writing fan fiction about their workout routines and predicting they'll co-author a book called Injured But Not Broken, A Love Story. And yes, people are actually calling it a love story, which is both sweet and slightly weird. Other fans are being more practical, focusing on the basketball implications. They're analyzing their games, comparing their styles, and basically turning into amateur scouts overnight. Then you have the conspiracy theorists who think this is all an elaborate PR stunt, because apparently in their minds, two injured athletes supporting each other is too wholesome to be real. And finally, you have the meme creators who are having an absolute field day. My personal favorite so far is the one that shows them both in the weight room with the caption, "Yeah, when you're both too injured to carry your teams, so you carry each other instead." This whole situation has created this weird parallel universe where the two most exciting basketball stories in Indiana are both sidelined simultaneously. It's like having Batman and Superman both in the hospital at the same time. Technically, they're still heroes, but they're not exactly out there fighting crime right now. For Fever fans, this has been particularly brutal. They were riding high on the Clark wave, selling out arenas, and suddenly everything came to a screeching halt. The team is struggling. The star is injured. And the whole momentum they had built up is just gone. Pacers fans are dealing with their own version of this nightmare. Haliburton had turned into must-see TV, and the team was actually fun to watch again. Now they're back to being, well, let's just say they're not exactly appointment television right now, but here's the silver lining in all of this chaos, and this friendship, this mutual support system that's developed has given both fan bases something to rally around. It's not a championship or a playoff run, but it's something genuine and heartwarming in a sports world that can often feel manufactured and fake. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Nobody has any idea when either of these players is coming back. The injury reports are vaguer than a politician's campaign promise. We're getting updates like day to day and progressing well, and we'll see how they feel, which tells us absolutely nothing. Clark's bone bruise and groin injury combination is particularly tricky. Bone bruises are weird. They can feel fine one day and absolutely terrible the next. And groin injuries, they're the kind of thing where you think you're better, you try to do something athletic, and then you're immediately reminded that your body is not, in fact, ready for athletic activities. Haliburton's situation is equally mysterious. The reports make it sound like he's close to returning, but close in sports medicine can mean anything from next week to sometime before the next ice age. The uncertainty is driving everyone crazy. Fans, teammates, coaches, and probably the players themselves. It's like being stuck in the world's most frustrating waiting room, except instead of waiting to see the doctor, you're waiting to find out if your favorite players will ever be the same again. Despite all the frustration and disappointment, there have been some genuinely heartwarming developments. This friendship between Haliburton and Clark has become a beacon of positivity in what has otherwise been a pretty dark period for Indiana basketball. Their story has resonated with people beyond just basketball fans, and it's a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful connections come from shared struggle rather than shared success. They're not bonding over victories and highlights, they're bonding over ice baths and physical therapy appointments. There's also something beautiful about watching two elite athletes learn how to be vulnerable with each other. These are people who are used to being invincible on the court. And now they're admitting that they need support, that they're struggling, and that it helps to have someone who understands. The weight room sessions have become almost mythical among fans. People are genuinely invested in their recovery process, celebrating small milestones like they would game-winning shots. Clark did 10 minutes on the elliptical today, gets the same energy as Clark scored 30 points. Eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, both of these players will return to the court. And when they do, this whole experience will have added a new dimension to their games and their stories. Haliburton will come back knowing that he has this genuine friendship with one of the biggest stars in women's basketball. Clark will return knowing that she survived not just the injury, but the pressure and expectations that come with being the face of women's basketball. Their first games back are going to be absolute must-see events. The storylines will write themselves, the emotion will be off the charts, and somewhere in the back of their minds, they'll probably be thinking about all those early morning weight room sessions and how they helped each other through one of the toughest periods of their careers. In a sports world that's often characterized by ego, competition, and manufactured drama, this story stands out for its authenticity. It's not about rivalries or trash talk or social media beef. It's about two people who found each other during a difficult time and made that time a little bit easier by sharing it. Haliburton's comments weren't calculated for maximum viral potential. They weren't designed to create headlines or generate clicks. They were just honest reflections from someone who's grateful to have found an unexpected friend during an unexpectedly difficult time. And maybe that's exactly what we needed to hear right now. In a world where everything feels complicated and divided, sometimes the most powerful stories are the simple ones, like two injured athletes helping each other heal, one weight room session at a time. So here's to Tyrese and Caitlin, the most unlikely gym buddies in sports history. May their recoveries be swift, their comebacks be legendary, and their friendship continue long after they're both back to doing what they do best, absolutely destroying opposing defenses and making basketball look easy. Until next time, keep supporting your teams even when they're going through the tough times, because sometimes the most meaningful victories happen off the court, in quiet weight rooms between two people who decided that healing is better when you don't have to do it alone.